Hey everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to do an awareness through movement lesson. And for this lesson, you're going to need a comfortable place to lie down. You can lie down on the floor. You can lie down in your bed. You can lie down on the floor on top of mats if you'd like, whatever you need. Really, the most important thing is that you're comfortable. You also may need some head supports. You can use garden kneelers, which are nice because they're a little bit firmer, so it makes it easier for your head to move. But if you need more cushion, you can use folded up towels or blankets or even pillows. Again, right, it's that trade-off between softness and ease of movement. If at all during the lesson you find that it's difficult for your head to move, you can experiment with changing the kind of head support that you have, and that could make a difference. So there is a video. Usually Feldenkrais lessons are just audio recordings because it's not normal for the teacher to demonstrate the movements. But I realize video is helpful for some people. So use it if it's helpful, don't if it's not. And just remember that it's more important for you to move in the way that you feel like moving than for you to try to move like me. Okay, so that was a lot of information. If there's anything that you feel like you need now, go ahead and just press pause and then go grab it. Like I'm realizing I'm going to need some socks, and also sometimes people get cold, so if you need a blanket, and if you are working directly on the floor and you are wearing socks, you may need something like a yoga mat for underneath your feet to keep them from sliding. All right, that's it, I promise. Let's begin.
Good. So lying on your back and just sensing your contact with the floor. And sense which parts of you are touching the floor. Yeah, often that's our pelvis. Right, and your heels, and your shoulders, and your head. And then you can feel which parts of yourself are lifted from the floor. So usually that's behind your knees, behind your lower back, and behind the back of your neck. And then just compare the space behind your left knee to your right knee. And the space behind your lower back on your left side and your right side. And then the space behind your neck on your left side and your right side. And then please bend your legs and stand your feet. And just feel the space behind your back now. Right? Does it feel any different? For most of us, it comes a little bit closer to the floor. And now a few times really easily, you're just going to tilt your pelvis a little bit backwards. So your lower back comes a little closer to the floor, and then let that go. Just tilting your pelvis backwards so your lower back comes a little closer to the floor, and then let that go. Good, and you're going to move at whatever pace you like and do these movements as many or as few times as you like. And then just start to feel what's happening with your head as you do this. As you tilt your pelvis backwards, do you feel movement in your head? Hmm. Nice, right. Each time making it a little easier, a little simpler. Good. And then let that go and rest. And often we rest with our legs long, but you can rest in any position that you like. And then please bend your legs and stand your feet. And begin tilting your pelvis in the opposite direction. So you'll tilt your pelvis a little forward. So your lower back lifts away from the floor and then come back. And again, it can be really easy. Just noticing for yourself, right? Is it easier for you to tilt your pelvis forward? Or was it easier for you to tilt your pelvis backwards? And then notice as you tilt your pelvis forward, do you feel any movement in your head? Each time making it easier. Good. And then let that go and rest. Good. And then please bend your legs and stand your feet. Now begin tilting your pelvis backwards and forwards. So we'll put the two movements together. Mhm. Nice. And notice what you do with your breathing. When do you inhale and when do you exhale? Good, and then notice, when does your chin come towards your chest? And when does it go away from your chest? Hmm. Good, and then see what it would be like if, as you tilt your pelvis backwards and your low back comes towards the floor, if you exhale, and then as you tilt your pelvis forward, you inhale. And just notice as you inhale, right? You can inhale into your chest. That's one way. You inhale and you expand your chest. And then there's another way where as you inhale, you expand your abdomen. So see what that's like. Right, so you'll tilt your pelvis backwards as you exhale, contracting your abdomen. And then tilt your pelvis forward as you inhale, expanding your abdomen. And that might feel, for some of us, that might feel a little strange. To inhale as we expand our abdomen. Just see what that's like for you. Good. And then let that go and rest. And then please bend your legs and stand your feet. And now cross one of your legs over the other so that the back of your hamstring is resting on the front of your thigh, if that's comfortable. Yeah. And so now go ahead and tilt your pelvis backwards and then come back. There you go. And just feeling, right? What is it like to do it with just one leg? easy. Good. And then turn your head to one side. It's up to you which side. It doesn't have to be a big turn, just a little. And now tilt your pelvis a little backwards and come back. Good. Just feel what that feels like, right? How the transmission of force travels through up to your head. Good. And then turn your head the other way and see what that feels like. And again, it doesn't have to be a big turn. Going really easy, right? Just feeling what it's like to tilt your pelvis a little backwards, how that travels through your low back, through your mid back, your upper back, all the way to the base of your neck, up to your head. Good, and then bring your head to the center. And now a few times tilt your pelvis forward. Just feel right as your pelvis goes forward. How far up your spine does that go? How willing is your chest to soften and your head to follow? And again, you don't have to make it happen. You're just feeling as it goes through too. And then turn your head to one side and see what it's like. Good. And then when you're ready, you can turn your head in the other direction. Just tilting your pelvis forward, coming back. Good. And then bring your head to the middle and pause for a moment. Good. And then when you're ready, begin tilting your pelvis a little forward and backward. There you go. Putting the two movements together, feeling how your pelvis connects through your spine to your head. Softening your hip joints so that your pelvis can roll around, right around your femurs. And then really easily turning your head to one side. See what that's like as you tilt your pelvis a little forwards and backwards. Going at whatever pace you'd like. And then turning your head to the other side. Just feeling for differences. And then you can play around with the speed at which you're tilting your pelvis forward and backward. Or you can go faster and make it a little bit of an oscillation if you'd like. Or you can go even slower. Up to you. Good. And then really easily playing with your head, right? Can you turn your head as you're doing the movement? Softening your jaw. Yeah. How free can your head and neck be? Right up there at the top of your spine, around the height of your nose, softening your tongue and your palate. Mm. And then when you're done with that, lengthen your legs down and rest. Mm. Good. And sense each side of your pelvis, each side of your lower back, shoulders. Mm. For some of you, you may feel more symmetrical after having done one side. And for some of you, you may feel less symmetrical, like it kind of exaggerated your asymmetries. So when you're ready, please bend your legs and cross the other leg now over. Just take a moment to feel how this biases your pelvis, right? How one side is now a little bit more lifted and the other side is pressing the floor a bit more clearly. And then see what it's like to tilt your pelvis a little backwards so your lower back comes closer to the floor, and then let that go. Mm. Yeah, and just feel the difference between this side versus the other side. And be kind with yourself. Yeah. There's no way that it should be. Just noticing how it is. And feeling, where you press into the floor, where your back comes closer to the floor, and then tracing that line of contact all the way up to your head. Still breathing. Yeah, and then turn your head a little bit to one side and see what it's like to tilt your pelvis a little backwards. Go. Just feeling the way this movement travels up your spine. Good. And then turn your head a little bit to the other side. Just feeling the movement of your chin towards your chest and away from your chest. And then bring your head to the middle. Good. And then see what it's like to tilt your pelvis forward and then come back. Forward so your lower back lifts a little bit from the floor and then come back. Good. And then add the turn of your head a little bit. Mm. Nice. And then turn your head the other way. Feeling the base of your neck and what's happening between your shoulder blades. Looking for any unnecessary work there. Good. And then let that go and take a rest. Hmm. And then please bend your legs and stand your feet and cross the same leg that you just had crossed over. Cross that same leg over on top. Good. And then begin tilting your pelvis now a little forwards and backwards. So putting the two movements together. Good, good, good. And then you can play with these variations of turning your head to one side or the other. Mm. Good. And you can play with the rhythm of the tilting of your pelvis. Right? So you can do kind of quicker oscillations, or you can make it really, really slow. Hmm. Hmm. And then whenever you're done with that, you let it go and you rest. And you can rest in whatever position feels good to you. If you're, feeling like you're a little tired of being on your back, you can rest on your side, your stomach. Mm. Mm. And sometimes when we rest, we just need a full rest, right? Where we don't have to think about anything. You can tune my voice out. You might even get a little sleepy. And other times when we rest, it's like, I don't know, something happens and it's like you feel consequence is the right word, but you feel like the residue of the movements, and you feel changes continually happening, right? It's like you feel, oh, there's that thing around my clavicle, right? And it starts to open a little bit. Or maybe you feel something different in your breathing, or something around your hip joints, right? And sometimes we feel a change in contact with the floor. And sometimes it's more an internal sense, like a melting of your tissues. Or, right? So that's a big reason why we take a lot of rests in Feldenkrais, is to just to give ourselves a chance to, yeah, to do something and then feel ourselves after we do that thing, right? Good. And then when you're ready, please roll to your back again and have both knees bent and your feet on the floor. And just a reminder that you can always prolong a rest if you want, or take one sooner. It's very self-paced here. And let's see, so what is it like now for you to tilt your pelvis a little backwards and forwards? So what's changed? Hmm. Mm. Mm. Nice. So now, for most of you, it looks like as you tilt your pelvis backwards, your chin goes away from your chest. And then as you tilt your pelvis forward, your chin comes towards your chest. And it doesn't have to be big, right? Just that there's this kind of general movement, yeah. So now let's play with that a little bit and see what would be like if as you tilt your pelvis backwards, your chin came towards your chest. And it can be really, really easy. You just want to see what that feels like. And then as you tilt your pelvis forward, your chin would go away from your chest. Good. So do that a few times to get that coordination. So as you tilt your pelvis backwards, your chin comes towards your chest. Right? So it's as if your lower back and the back of your neck are flattening. And then as you tilt your pelvis forward, your chin goes away from your chest. So your lower back and the back of your neck are arching or lifting away from the floor. Mhm. And just seeing how simple you can make this, still breathing, still being soft in your jaw. Good, right? Finding this potential for movement right at the base of your skull. Good, and then pause. And now allow yourself to go back to the original movement, right? So where you would tilt your pelvis a little forwards and backwards. And then feel now, right? If you just allow your head to follow. Yeah, so as you tilt your pelvis backwards, your chin would go away from your chest. And as you tilt your pelvis forward, your chin would come towards your chest. Softening across your front of your chest and your clavicles, between your shoulder blades. Good, and then let that go and take a rest. And then please bend your knees and stand your feet. And now tilt your pelvis forwards and backwards. And notice what you're doing with your eyes. And again, you can make this movement as large or small as you want, whatever pace you want, right? If you're starting to feel a little sore or tired, right? You just do it in your imagination. Just feeling, what do your eyes do as you do this movement? Right? Do they look down or up? Or do they stay kind of looking straight in front of you? And then see what it's like to do the opposite with your eyes. So I'll be more specific. This might not be your opposite, so if it's not, do what is your opposite. But I'm going to say as you tilt your pelvis backwards and your chin goes away from your chest, can you look down with your eyes? Uh-huh. Yeah, and then as you tilt your pelvis forward and your chin comes towards your chest, can you look up with your eyes? Yeah, so this is it's very, for some of us, most of us actually, it's quite strange to separate our eye movement from our head movement. Yeah, so as your pelvis tilts forward, your chin comes towards your chest, but your eyes look up. Just your eyes look up, yeah. And then as you tilt your pelvis backwards, your chin goes away from your chest and your eyes look down. Go easy. Uh-huh. Super easy. There you go. Yeah, so as you tilt your pelvis forward, your chin comes towards your chest, but your eyes look up. And as you tilt your pelvis backwards, this is one of those like, what? So you can think that your eyes and your chin are doing the opposite thing. Or not. And if it starts to get frustrating at all, you just let it go. You only do it if it's interesting. Still breathing. Good. And then let everything go together. Your eyes and your chin. Yeah. So as you tilt your pelvis backwards, your eyes look up and your chin goes away from your chest. And you tilt your pelvis forward, your chin comes down towards your chest and your eyes look down. So easy. So easy. And then if you'd like to, you can have one eye open and the other eye closed, just to see if that does anything for you. Yeah, and open or close, that can be a rough approximation, right? Sometimes the most effort is in just trying to keep that eye closed, so go easy. Nice, and then you can see what it's like to try with the other eye open, the other eye closed. Right, what's happening in the back of our neck has a lot to do with the use of our eyes. Good, and then let all that go, and now just for yourself a few times, just rock your pelvis a little forwards and backwards, right? However you'd like to, just to kind of help you integrate a little. Right, and then whenever you're done with that movement, go ahead and rest. Mm. Mm. And sense how your pelvis is contacting the floor now. And your shoulders and your head. And feel the space behind each of your knees. and your lower back and the back of your neck. And sense the breathing. And sense each side of your face. And then when you're ready, slowly roll to your side and come on up to standing. I will tell you, in case anyone has to dash, it is 1 o'clock now. Um, but I have time, so you're welcome to take your time to come on up and see what you feel. And I'm here if anyone has questions or comments, but you can also just stay in your own experience if you're ready to go. Yeah, and just sense how you're standing on each of your legs. Right, if you feel any biases, more weight on one side or the other. It's interesting. Yeah, what it's like to walk. Or coordinate the computer. It's okay too if you show that. Okay. Nice. So really the end of class is for you. Yeah, however you need to integrate.